Hello. Today I want to just take a little bit of time, and this one's going to be a little bit longer, to talk about officer wellness. Gary Caruana has been in the news lately, touting and patting himself on the back about the officer wellness program he started within the agency. Just want to kind of give you the full story here, a little bit of transparency and kind of a background on officer wellness, which is a very, very important topic that we deal with as law enforcement leaders. Now, best practices and new laws have been taken into place that do require officer wellness programs. So again, nothing innovative here. I just want to kind of give a full story and a little bit of background. You know, officer wellness has been studied since the 60s, really hasn't gained traction until about the 2000s. You know, law enforcement, first responders have the macho mentality. They don't want to share what they're going through, and it's a very, very serious thing that does deserve the attention and put to the forefront for our law enforcement leaders. In about 2018, the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act was signed into federal law. And what this does, it's a response to the unique stressors faced by police officers, first responders. And these stressors lead to many mental health issues and challenges. So this act acknowledges these challenges, and what it does is it provides grants across, for departments across the nation to deal with officer wellness. In 2021, Illinois requires law enforcement agencies to provide regular confidential mental health check-ins for officers. This was passed, during the Safety Act part of it. And Illinois Enforcement Training and Standards Board established a statewide minimum standards for these screenings. It's real difficult across the nation to pinpoint or say how many law enforcement agencies have officer wellness programs, but it's definitely in the thousands. A significant part of our law enforcement agencies have some form of officer wellness, which is a really good thing. A couple of things locally that have been in place for a while, and I gotta really give it to the Greg Lindmark Foundation that has started locally. The tremendous and great work that they do throughout the community and the services that they provide our first responders at no cost is absolutely amazing, and you got to give Greg Lindmark Foundation props for the service that they provide for our officer wellness. And we also have things in place. The Winnebago County has a wellness program for all employees, which includes employee assistance programs, which includes counseling if needed. There's red light, blue lights, regular counts. They meet regularly for group counseling sessions. There's a peer support group. There's national hotlines. And there's Rockford River Chaplains Associations that have partnered with the Sheriff's Office many years ago. Some of the things that, are not kind of out there with this wellness program that Gary says he's supersized, I think really needs to be known by the taxpayers and in general by a lot of people that don't realize this. And I want to go back for a second too. There's a very, very nice gym also in the basement of the Winnebago County Justice Center. What I find ironic is Gary initiated a criminal investigation back in 2016 against County Board Chairman Christensen for a sauna that he purchased and exercise equipment from a local business for an employee wellness program that was just being started back then. This investigation did not result in any criminal charges, but I find this ironic on Gary not being transparent with the public in this. Sometime around 2016, about February 20th of 2016, Gary wrote an opinion article in the Rockford Register-Star newspaper, and it refers to his guest column in which he described his staff's identification of spending irregularities made from the public safety, sales tax fund by Winnebago County administration. How ironic this is. In this opinion, Gary stated that analysis of the budget conducted by several Winnebago County Sheriff's employees during a 3-month span uncovered irregularities in spending. So he launched a FBI investigation. Back in Rockford Register article dated January 19th of 2016, it states that federal agents seized $4,200 sauna from the public safety building last month. This sauna was part of the investigation that Gary wrote this piece on after this happened. They initiated the investigation because Christensen had, the allegations were that Christensen had the sauna at his house, and so that's kind of what initiated it. The FBI did a search warrant on the public safety building at that time and found the sauna that was in pieces sitting in the basement. So that sauna was recovered and used. And again, the ironic part is what's going to happen. So that sauna was purchased with several exercise equipment at a fitness store locally, worth $23,000 worth of equipment for the employee assistance program. So ironically, what happens is now what Gary's not telling you, he used to start this enhanced employee program again with taxpayer dollars, which I understand we need to care about our officer wellness. But here's the rest of the story. Gary Caruana used more than $29,000 of taxpayer funds from the Winnebago County Public Safety Sales Tax Jail Fund to purchase a sauna, a cold plunge, and red light therapy. That money is just for the equipment. It doesn't count the thousands of dollars it's going to cost to install that equipment at the Justice Center. And the other part of that is he's paying an employee. Again, like I said, the county pays a lot of money for a county-wide employee wellness program, which includes the deputies in the sheriff's office. But Gary individually decided to pay an individual to oversee the wellness program at the sheriff's office. Salary and benefits, $171,662.92 per year for this employee to oversee this. So over 2 years, this is going to be over $343,000 just in salary and benefits for this employee. Now Gary's going to try to tell you that he got a grant to offset this, and like I said earlier, they did receive a grant from that federal agency that I told you about, known the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act. From that funding, they did receive funding for 2 years, and that funding totally for the 2 years was like $199,988. Now, by my math, that clearly does not cover the $343,000 in the 2 years to duplicate services that are already provided by Winnebago County overall. So now, you know the rest of the story. Again, there's a lack of transparency in the sheriff's office, and over the next 18 months, I'm going to show the consistent lack of transparency and the misuse of tax money that is rampant within Winnebago County and under Gary Caruana's leadership. Thank you for listening. I understand this was a longer one, but I wanted to make sure I can put my point out, and I am not downplaying officer wellness whatsoever. There should be programs in place. We do need to look out for our officers and first responders as a whole. So I want to thank you and have a great day.